When your child looks up and says, "Mom, I don't feel like a boy," or "Dad, I don't want to be a girl," your heart might skip a beat. You might feel worry, confusion, even a little fear. Breathe.
So this one's starting off by talking down to the parents. If you're one of these people who understand the differences between men and women, then just calm down. We'll walk you through that flaw that you have. Um, I think it's interesting when they talk about this idea of feeling like a boy or a girl. Um, if you think about this, there's actually no way to know whether you quote unquote feel like a boy or a girl or a man or a woman because there's no basis for that comparison. Um, you've only felt like you've only had the experience of being one gender or the other. So you would have to have some experience having both feelings, I guess, to know for sure that you're feeling like one and not the other, if that makes sense. Without a basis for comparison, um, there's no way to definitively say what you feel like. I think what people are feeling is that something is wrong, and perhaps they're even feeling like something is wrong with their body. But the way that you interpret that feeling is going to be based on your beliefs. It's going to be based on what you're taught. And in this case, they want to teach children. They want to teach the children's parents that they need to question their entire gender if they're feeling like something is wrong when it could be any number of explanations for that feeling.
The first thing your child needs in that moment is not an explanation. It's your calm and your listening. Be there. Be steady. Now let's step back and understand what this might mean. Understand first. Don't panic or assume. Not every remark like this signals a lifelong condition. Kids explore identity in many ways.
So, the only thing I'll say at this point so far is that a parent's job is not just to listen, it's not just to try to empathize with their child. I think that is a part of good parenting. But you are, at the end of the day, you are supposed to be guiding your child. You're supposed to be explaining things to them. People like to talk of these things like there's mutually exclusive, like if you're teaching, then you're not understanding. And that's ridiculous. I think that you can understand um, that your child is going through something serious and having certain feelings, which I think there are ways to prevent those feelings from even coming up. But even if they're not, you can have empathy for it and still steer your child in the right direction.
Through play, through dress up, through curiosity. Sometimes it's a phase. Sometimes it's a question. That's why the first job as a parent is to observe and hold space, not to jump to conclusions. Now,
No, the first job of the parent is to teach. You should be teaching your child right from the very beginning. You should not be waiting and watching sort of a reactionary or reactive parenting. You should be a proactive parent. You should be anticipating, especially in this day and age, that your child is going to go through certain feelings that are actually very normal for kids to go through, especially when they reach the puberty phase. Um, and the world is going to be telling them, "Oh, this is what that means," and you need to be ready for it.
a quick guide to typical ages to watch. Developmental milestones. When children usually notice gender. Kids generally begin to notice gender around age 2 to 3. By 5 to 6, that recognition often becomes clearer. And in late childhood or the preteen years around 9 to 12, those questions can be.
What we'll find as we go through this video, I bet, is that they actually don't have a working definition for gender. That's part of the confusion here. Um, Especially the higher up you go to the so-called experts on this topic, you'll find that they routinely confuse gender itself with gender roles and norms. They'll talk about um, socially, what's the word they use? I can't even remember. Um, well, socially, yeah, social constructs, socially constructed traits, and they'll call that gender. It doesn't make any sense, and maybe we'll get into that if it tries to define these terms. We'll see.
Become deeper. Knowing these milestones helps you tell whether your child might be exploring or experiencing real distress. So, How should you react the moment your child tells you? First, parental reaction. Stay calm. Thank them for sharing. Resist the urge to correct or fix. A simple line like, "Thank you for telling me. I want to understand more."
So, okay, like, yeah, I think you should. You should do some of this. You should praise your child for telling you, for coming to you with their problems. You should not make them feel um, ashamed or like they're going to get in trouble for simply bringing it up to you. You should not get angry about it. That much is true. This whole thing of I want to understand more. Um, to my mind, if your child is coming to you, they're wanting to understand more. So it makes no sense that you're going to just listen to them talk. And it's like as if you're saying, I don't know what to do to your 10-year-old child or whoever, uh, and there to teach you. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I feel sorry for any child whose parents approach every problem that way. It's like, well, I have no idea. Tell me more so you can teach me. That's completely backwards.
Can change everything. That response tells your child, "You are safe. You can say more." Next, how to learn about your child without pressuring them. Observe gently. Look for patterns in everyday behavior. Pay attention to small, everyday clues. How does your child play? Which roles do they choose in imaginative games?
So we're beginning to see now this tendency they have to confuse gender with gender roles and norms. You're supposed to be watching how your child plays, right? And so if they play in a stereotypically feminine way, then their gender must be a girl or non-binary or something like this, something along those lines. Um, it's uh, and maybe they'll go into more detail here, but I just want to point out that this is an example of them sort of looking at how the child likes to play to help them determine their gender, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Are they excited and curious, or withdrawn and ashamed? If the child experiments with different roles and seems joyful, that suggests exploration. If the child is persistently anxious, hiding feelings, or says they feel wrong or miserable most days, that signals real distress and needs further support. How can you support healthy exploration?
Yeah, you just let them play the way they want to play. I will mention though that I do think it's part of responsible parenting to raise your sons to be masculine. Let's say masculine for the most part. How about that? It would not be reasonable to expect them to check every little box, right, in the stereotypical masculine behavior list. But you do actually want them to be, you want your sons to be masculine, you want your daughters to be feminine. And this is because you're looking into their future and just it's just the case that most you want them to be able to pair bond when they become adults, okay? And most women are going to prefer masculine men, just like most men prefer feminine women. That's not going to change. That's always the case, even among a lot of so-called liberal types. You can spot the differences in types of people they go for, but the more mentally and emotionally healthy a person is, the more they're looking for someone that's meeting a lot of these gender roles and norms. It's a whole other subject. Maybe we can get into another time, but I do think you should guide your children to be um, ways that they're more likely to be successful in life. We'll just say.
Healthy experimentation. Broaden experiences. Don't force change. Offer a variety of experiences, sports, art, building projects, music, but don't use them as corrections. Let your child freely sample different activities and role models. The goal is exposure and perspective, not pressure to be more masculine or more feminine. That freedom helps kids understand themselves without shame.
Yeah, this is not. Again, I do think there is a such thing as going overboard with it, sure. But you just got to remember that you're not raising a child. You're raising a future adult. That's one way to look at it. Um, and while you, as their parent, you will love them unconditionally. You'll accept them unconditionally. You cannot expect the world to do the same. It's just one of the hard facts of life that whether you are a boy or a girl, you will become a man or a woman, respectively. And the outside world is going to be looking for things they want out of you. Okay. Um, this is where the way that we teach kids along the lines of it doesn't matter what other people think of you. This is a half truth. Okay. It depends on the circumstances, but there are definitely things that people should improve about themselves, myself included. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect up here or anything like that. Um, but yeah, a good parent is going to prepare their child for the real outside world. And I think this right here is going to do the opposite.
When should you consider professional help? If your child is frequently sad, withdrawn, losing interest in activities, experiencing sleep or
Professional help, I'll just say, see if they can give you a workable definition for gender or man or woman before you consider them a professional. Because in my experience, a lot of these so-called professionals are not going to be able to do that.
appetite changes, or talking about harming themselves, contact a licensed child psychologist. A professional helps you separate developmentally appropriate exploration from distress that needs treatment or support. Parents, you also need to prepare yourself emotionally.
Okay, so yeah, it does seem to be setting the stage for, um, hey, recognize that your boy is really a girl, or vice versa. I did want to comment also on this whole thing of if they're talking about or thinking about harming themselves. This is not something that comes out of nowhere. This is not something that just naturally develops in a child. But I will say also that a lot of this is actually at the feet of trans advocates, gender identity advocates of this worldview that they're clearly promoting. Um, the thing is that they tell trans identifying people all the time, hey, look, those people don't just disagree with your beliefs, they literally hate you. That's what they tell the trans people, trans identifying people, is that they're hated by countless people throughout the world, hate their guts. And then they act surprised when these trans identifying people have all sorts of emotional and psychological issues. And it is my belief that it stems from that. If you tell someone that they're hated by tons of people out there, they're going to um, they're going to feel differently about themselves. They're going to. It's kind of like if you were to convince me that most of the world disagrees with me on something, which I'm sure there's plenty of things that they probably do. That's not going to make me feel desperate or um, suicidal. That's not going to make me think along those ways. But if you were to convince me that most of the world hated my guts, that would at least be closer. That would at least be closer to getting me to that point. Now, me, of course, you don't have to worry about me. I'm fine on that. But you're talking about a child, you're talking about a teenager, and then you tell them that the world hates them. I think that the trans advocates, these gender ideology advocates, um, some of that responsibility is in their hands. I'll just leave it there.
Preparing parents emotionally, acceptance, education, and support. It's normal to feel grief, confusion, or fear. Allow those feelings, but don't let them drive your actions toward your child. Steps that help parents become steady anchors. Read trustworthy resources on gender and child development.
Yeah, again, I would say trustworthy will depend on if they can give workable definitions for gender in the first place. Um, if they're confusing gender with gender roles and norms, If they're saying it's socially constructed expectations based on gender or based on biological sex, then you'll know they don't even know what gender is. You don't need to listen to them. You need to go the opposite direction.
Talk openly with your partner before responding. Join a support group for caregivers. Seek counseling to process your emotions. The more grounded you are, the more you can offer your child safety, patience, and unconditional love. Now, how do we prepare the child emotionally? Preparing the child builds self-acceptance and emotional tools. When a child feels different, teach them to foundations. 1. You have the right to be who you are, and 2. You
So, how can they be who they are if they don't know what a man or a woman are to begin with? These are, of course, other terms that many of us are aware. People who believe in this worldview really struggle defining what a man or what a woman is. Um, they really have a lot of trouble with that. And I'm not even asking for a simple definition or a short definition, just anything that actually works and is consistent with the rest of their worldview. They consistently fail to give that.
can learn skills to live confidently and kindly. Help your child name emotions. I feel sad. I feel scared. So they can express rather than internalize. Encourage activities that build pride and capability. Practice simple phrases they can use if teased, and role play responses so they feel prepared. And
So yeah, I mean it's fine to teach your kids to be resistant to teasing or bullying. You should teach your child to defend how to defend themselves, whether they're a boy or a girl, really. Um, but at the same time, you should be raising your child so that the teasing is minimized. Again, just keep in mind you love your child unconditionally if you have children. If not, then whenever you do have children, you will love them unconditionally, but the rest of the world will not. You're supposed to be preparing them for um, interacting with the rest of the world.
how do we help them face the world? Preparing to face society, practical school and social strategies. If your child identifies differently from their birth sex, practical preparation makes a big difference.
Yeah, gender and sex, um, they're one and the same. Okay, in this context of asking someone what is your gender, the only definition that works is synonymous with biological sex.
Coping skills, rehearse calm responses to teasing, teach breathing and grounding techniques. A safety network, identify at least one trusted adult at school teacher, counselor, and one outside coach, family friend. Healthy social circles, help your child find clubs or friend groups that value kindness and inclusion. Also, collaborate with the school to set
The inclusion thing, um, and by now a lot of us have realized this is a lie. There's no truly inclusive uh, agenda. If you identify as certain ways, if you identify as a conservative, for example, or maybe as a Christian, then you're probably going to find that they don't completely believe in inclusion the way that they claim to.
up a simple safety plan, a trusted adult to go to, agreed language around names, pronouns if the family wants that, and clear anti-bullying steps. These steps
And expecting people to use different pronouns for you, expecting people to change how they speak in accordance with your worldview, um, that is that is what I would consider bullying. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna expect you to speak the way that I want you to speak, not the way that you want to, and I want you to use words that go along with my beliefs, even if they go against your own. That's the real bullying here.
empower your child to go to school and life with more confidence. A short, real-life example can make this feel possible. I once heard a mother say she spent months trying to fix her child. The more she corrected, the more the child shut down.
Where was the father? I wonder. why is it so often, not always, but so often, a mother, single mother, uh, or perhaps a mother that's involved, and the father is uh, sort of a beta male, not getting involved at all with his own child. Uh, this is something to pay attention to. Um, the child needs a father in the home when at all possible.
One night she stopped, sat quietly, and just listened. She held the child and said, "I'm here. I'm not leaving." The child cried, then smiled. That acceptance was the first step toward healing.
And you know, all of this sounds really, really great. Um, except that, um, again, the rest of the world is not going to always be there, and they will leave if you bully them by telling them they have to change how they speak, or they're not permitted to express their beliefs on the subject without you calling them hateful or phobic in some way. If you're bullying them, they absolutely will leave you, and you'll be left with the bottom of the barrel types of people who want to see you hurt and they don't actually care about you. When you push people away, when you call them hateful, you call the people who truly care about you hateful, you end up with people who are truly hateful toward you.
No one chooses the body or identity they're born into, but every child deserves to discover who they are without fear. Your calm, your acceptance, your love, those
Okay, so the identity thing. Um, I figured this would come up here, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. This was a Gallup poll taken in 2021. It's important to realize that it is the younger generations that identify um, far more often as LGBT. Okay, you can see it right here. Generation Z, 20.8% compared to the older generations. We're talking about 4%, 2%, 0, or 1%. Um, and what's interesting about this here is it shows that it's not just because LGBT people are more accepted today. These are all people who are asked how they identify now. So it's accepted way more often than it used to be. And yet you still have the older generations not identifying it nearly as often as the younger generations. So this is not something, in fact, that people are just born into. This is a social contagion.
are the gifts that matter most. You don't need to have all the answers, just be the steady place they can return to. If this video helped you feel a bit steadier, please like and subscribe. Let's keep learning how to parent with compassion.
Okay. So yeah, that's the end of that video. Yeah, by all means, like and subscribe to my channel. But the only thing I would add here is that yeah, it's true. You don't need to have all the answers as a parent, but you do need to be more than just be a steady place. Because one more time, I will just reiterate that you won't always be around for your child. You will, pass away before them, right? And even before then, they'll move out. They'll try to start their own life away from you, um, and you won't be the steady place that they can return to. They'll need to be their own steady place, and they need to have friends. They need to make friends in life that actually care about them. Um, and just to reiterate, like your role as a parent is to prepare your child for the real world. It is not to constantly um, just echo back whatever they tell you. You are supposed to be teaching them. Um, but but yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, comment below, all of that good stuff, and I hope you all have a great day.